Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. All right, it is the First Look podcast. Maddie could not be here tonight, so I'm rolling solo, try to do her justice and talk to you about this week's games. But I want to just take a quick look back at the games from last weekend, which in all my years of watching the NFL, it was truly the most exciting weekend that I can remember. And I know there were only 4 games, but those 4 games felt like 14. I mean, it was just wonderful, wonderful football, exciting, energizing, and everything we love about the game you could find last weekend. So I'll just do a quick recap, which will lead into this week's games. Cincinnati and Tennessee. I think there's going to be a lot of blame that goes to Ryan Tannehill. And maybe rightfully so. But I think there's got to be more blame on the coaching staff of the Titans. When there's a minute and 45 seconds to go in the game, you have to play with a sense of urgency. They didn't. It looked like they were playing for overtime. Aren't you trying to win the game? I just thought it was poor play calling. It was like a minute to go, and they're just like sauntering to the line. I don't understand that. I've said from the beginning that Cincinnati being where they are doesn't shock me in the least. They've got a bunch of guys who know how to play in big game situations, and this moment is not too big for them. And there's something to be said for that. When you come from a smaller college and maybe you haven't played in these big moments, and maybe you went to a smaller high school and now you're here and everybody's like on you, there's a lot of pressure. But when you're Joe Burrow and you've won a national championship and you've won a Heisman Trophy, do you think playing in the divisional round against the Tennessee Titans is too big for you? It's not. It's why a lot of general managers like taking guys who've been on Alabama and Georgia and Clemson and Ohio State because they've been in those situations before. So it makes sense. Cincinnati's got a lot going for them, a lot. I mean, Mixon's playing well. Jamar Chase is fantastic. T. Higgins and the defense is playing just pretty well. I mean, the Titans' offense was not very great, but the Bengals' defense is good enough. Not great, but good enough. Their offensive line is terrible. That was the problem. When you put up 9 sacks, you should win that game. The other game on Saturday was the 49ers against Packers. I look at this game in 2 ways. One, the 49ers are just a very well-coached team. I don't think they're a great team. They're just a very well-coached team. Great play calling on offense and defense. They put themselves in a position to compete. They put themselves in a position to win. That's all you can ask for. Green Bay, I mean, look, what's going on here? And I'll tell you what's going on here. They don't have their good enough roster. This is not a great roster. This is a roster that I would call, if they were in fantasy football, stars and scrubs. You got Aaron Rodgers, star. You got Devontae Adams, star. You got Aaron Jones, star. The rest of the offense, are they really that stars? A couple of guys in the offensive line, maybe. How about defense? Rashawn Gary, pretty darn good. Anybody else that you can remember off the top of your head? Jair Alexander, he's not 100% either. Stars and scrubs. That doesn't win in the NFL. It never does. Will Aaron Rodgers go down as a disappointment to me? Yes, he will. It's a disappointing season. You get to this point and, you expect him to win. Now, look, let me be quite honest with you here. I'm not upset that Rodgers lost because I just didn't want to deal with political drama during the Super Bowl. Let's just appreciate sports. I don't need the politics. Whatever your politics is, I don't care. I just don't care. What I care about is the game. And, so if it was going to get in the way of the game, then whatever. So let's get to the next game. The Rams against the Buccaneers. I mean, the Rams should have won that game by that game should have been that close. You got to hold on to the football. Cam Akers, you got to hold on to the football. The Rams, you made it close. Brady would have gotten all the credit in the world for winning this game. It wasn't Brady winning. It was the Rams losing. I'm glad to see the Rams win. The Rams are a very good team. I want to see Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl. I want to see Deebo Samuel in the Super Bowl. Too bad they're playing each other. I want to see Matthew Stafford have his opportunity. I want to see Von Miller have his opportunity. I want to see Aaron Donald have his opportunity. These are guys that I want to see. Now, not that I don't want to see Tom Brady, but the Rams needed to take advantage of that opportunity. To their credit, that last drive of the game was magnificent against Cooper Kupp. The Buccaneers should never have let that happen, and the Rams deserved that win. Fact. So we'll get to the 49ers and Rams in just a second, but I want to get to the game of the weekend. I mean, the Bills and Chiefs just blow your mind. Gabriel Davis, wow. Just wow. The Chiefs played inspired football. I mean, Tyreek Hill, who can stop this guy? Travis Kelce looked great. Byron Pringle, I love him. I told you guys how much I loved him. But let me say this. There was the overtime rules. He called tails. It was heads. Mahomes gets the ball. Did you ever think he wasn't going to win? There was no doubt in my mind. I literally called all the plays, by the way. If you were in my house and you were next to me and Little Roto, I said to Little Roto, I said, look, two things are going to happen. One, they're going to throw the ball to Hill and they're going to throw the ball to Kelce. Two plays, Butker comes on, he kicks. Then they drive the ball down. I look and I go, Kelce touchdown. Next play, Kelce touchdown. He goes, how did you know that? I said, that's who they go to in those situations, right? Now, should the Bills have squib kicked it? Yes. Would that made a difference? Probably. Do I feel like this should have been the Super Bowl? Yes. That would have been some Super Bowl. Okay, speaking of the Super Bowl, let's take a look at these two games. Firstly, Cincinnati against the Chiefs. So the first look. Cincinnati won this game during the regular season. They won it at home, but now they got to go on the road. Now you got to play in Geha Field or whatever it is, Geha Stadium. I mean, for me, it's always going to be Arrowhead. Can Joe Burrow do it again? Maybe. I think the Chiefs will be more prepared. Problem is the Chiefs play man-to-man defense, and that is not the defense you want to play against the Bengals. The Bengals eat this defense up, and they did the first time they played. They did. I mean, Chase, going to be hard to stop him. Higgins, going to be really hard to stop him. I think as Mixon goes, this game goes, because if they're throwing the ball, it will allow Mixon to see more running lanes. This game easily could be a 34-31, much like the first time they played game. I don't think the Bengals are going to stop Mahomes. I don't. I think that this is going to be the Chiefs scoring pretty much every time they have the football. And I think this is going to be the Bengals scoring most every time they have the football. So the question is, are you settling for field goals or are you going for touchdowns? And if the Bengals start getting too many field goals, if they fall in love with Evan McPherson, it's not going to be a good thing because Mahomes is going to put up the touchdowns. So I think this game comes down to the Chiefs' defensive line. Can they put pressure on Burrow? Because that Bengals offensive line is not very good. We saw that last week. They're not very good at all. So, and also on the other side, can the Bengals defense put a crimp into Mahomes? Now, I will tell you about the one player I really love for the Bengals, and I've been talking about him all season long, a guy named Logan Wilson, arguably, to my mind, one of the top 3 cover linebackers in the NFL. Travis Kelce will not have a big week this week. He'll do his thing, but it's not going to be one of those Kelce 8 for 110 and 2 touchdown weeks. It's just not going to happen against Logan Wilson. Somebody else is going to have to step up here. For sure, it's going to be Tyreek Hill. My guess is it'll be Pringle, but they're going to need a third person, whether it's Edwards-Helaire, whether it is Demarcus Robinson or Mecole Hardman. It's going to be somebody else who's going to have to do something here. If that doesn't happen, then they may lose this game because I think Wilson is going to take Kelce out of this game. That is my prediction. But I would watch Patrick Mahomes running the ball. He did it so effectively last week. I think he's going to do it again effectively this week. And that may be the difference here, is the running ability of Patrick Mahomes might be the difference maker. Watch that carefully. Okay, the Rams and the 49ers. When these teams played a couple of weeks ago, the Rams should have won this game. It was 3rd and 7. They ran the ball to Sony Michel. It was like 4th and 1, and they decided to punt it. So they deserved to lose. They played scared football, play aggressive football. I think they would have won that game. I think the Rams are clearly a better team. I think the Rams will pressure Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is not good under pressure. And if Aaron Donald and Von Miller can get to him, I think it's going to be a tough day. That being said, Matthew Stafford makes a lot of mental mistakes. He does. If he starts being careless with the football, that's an issue. If Cam Akers is careless with the football, that's an issue. And because San Francisco, Elijah Mitchell is real deal, guys. I love him. I think this guy's a late first, early second round pick next year. Deebo Samuel, so long as he's healthy, this guy is a first round pick and he's phenomenal. Kittle has to do more. He did a decent job last week. He needs to do more. Ayuk, all these guys, they have a lot of great skill players. They just don't have the great quarterback. Now, Jimmy G is not bad. He's just not great. With 2 minutes to go, I don't know whether you're winning this game with Jimmy G. You may get a field goal out of it, but I don't know if you get that touchdown. That's why Deebo Samuel has been so important to this team, because they've needed him in so many different ways to make them better, to give them another wrinkle into their offensive scheme. I will say this, Kyle Shanahan is a much better play caller than Sean McVay. I think McVay has disappointed me recently with his poor play calling, but I do think that there are certain guys who are difference makers in this game. Beckham, difference maker. Van Jefferson, difference maker. I would think also, Brandon Ayuk, difference maker. Some secondary player is going to have to do something outside of Deebo and Cooper Kupp, because both teams know to be, covering those guys. So who's going to be that secondary player that shows up? That's what I'm interested to see. So as I look at these two games, my first look is I believe the Chiefs will win this game. I am rooting very hard for the Bengals, and I'm rooting for the Chiefs. I like both teams. I just think that the Chiefs are a little bit better here. And to be quite honest with you, I think the Rams are a little bit better here. I think this is the game for the Rams to win. I think the Rams, I don't know whether the 49ers are going to win this game. I think the Rams could lose it, right? If that makes any sense, whether they fumble or whether they just make a couple of bad penalties or whether they don't have good play calling. So I'm thinking that this should be a Chiefs-Rams Super Bowl, which I think would be a fantastic Super Bowl. At the same time, look, both these other teams have puncher's chances. I just am not sure we're going to see games as good as we did last weekend, because that was absolutely sensational. But hey, this is my first look. This is what I'm thinking today. It all may change when I start evaluating these games and I get to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio on Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern, and then Sunday from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern. I start to really analyze the games and get deep with these games. But right now, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And we'll talk some prop betting later in the week. We'll talk some DFS lineups later in the week. And just an exciting, exciting time of year. But right now, it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Dr. Roto, be well and take care.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.